Them kids running out, you get with them, they say they're pretty good meals.
Test, test, test.
So good evening. It is a little after 7 p.m. and I would like to call to order the Monday, September 14th, 2020 meeting of the Southampton County School Board. We have 8 of our 9 board members present, so we have a quorum. One of our members, Ms. Florence Reynolds, has asked to join us by phone tonight. So according to board policy, we need a motion to permit Ms. Reynolds to join us by phone. So do we have such a motion? We have a motion by Mr. Smith, a second by Ms. Roundtree. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Ms. Reynolds, can you hear us? Thank you. The next item is the agenda approval. Is there a board member who would like to add an item to the agenda for tonight? Mr. Worsham, where would you like to speak?
Open session.
Where?
Open session.
Under matters from previous meetings?
I'd like to have 3 items in closed session on personnel.
Okay,
In closed session.
okay.
I'd like to add an item to closed session under personnel.
Okay, so Mr. Worsham is going to speak on the matters from the board. Mr. Pope is going to speak in closed session. And Ms. Bond is going to speak in closed session. Are there other board members who would like to add agenda items? So could we have a motion then to approve the agenda as amended?
I make a motion.
We have a motion by Ms. Bradley, a second by Mr. Smith to approve the agenda as amended. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? Thank you. The minutes of our August 10th meeting were included in your board packet. Are there any additions or corrections to those minutes? So could we have a motion to approve?
I make a motion.
We have a motion by Ms. Bradley, a second by Ms. Reynolds to approve the minutes of the August 10th meeting. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? We do not have any recognitions for tonight, so we're down to public comments. The Southampton County School Board welcomes comments from our community partners, people who address the board. Each speaker who addresses the board should do so in 3 minutes or less. However, remember that board members do not respond to or take any action on comments made. So as soon as I get the sign-up list from Ms. Artis, we will start with the public comments. So we have 4 people who have signed up to speak in we have 4 people who've asked to speak during the public comment period tonight. I ask that each speaker please respect the 3-minute time limit. So the first speaker is John Moore, Jr.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for having us this evening.
I called the school board office earlier in the week and asked to be put on the main agenda for tonight, and I was refused to do so and told that I had to say what I had to say within the 3 minutes on the public comment section. I would like to ask y'all if I can have a few minutes extra to read all that I have to read in these pages here.
How many pages do you have?
3.5.
Okay, yeah. I mean, that won't take much more than 3 minutes.
Thank you. What I'm reading here is a response to the 11-point survey that y'all sent out prior to school starting, where you gave parents 11 subjects and gave us a comment block for us to ask questions that we have regarding these certain subjects. I'll get started. Number 1 is health and safety. How many nurses and screeners have been hired so each school is fully staffed with health professionals that are equipped with experience to address COVID and other health issues our children and staff may face if we return to school? Are they getting paid sufficiently to handle the load that will be placed on their shoulders? These staff members will ultimately be the line of defense that is largely responsible for controlling the spread of COVID in the event a student or staff member exhibits symptoms while at school. Instruction. When our students return to school, will there be enough teachers to accommodate the appropriate level of students for each classroom with potential social distancing requirements? How many teachers have you hired in the last several months? Do we even have enough teachers to cover all 3 slots of your virtual learning plan? Did the teachers that are coming on board and current teachers receive a benefit package that is paying them enough to compensate them for the loads of responsibility that you have placed on their shoulders this school year, and reflects the amount of work on and off the clock to try to pull this virtual learning plan off? Did that happen when their contracts were signed earlier in the summer? Were exit interviews conducted on the staff that left and went to neighboring school systems to see how you could adjust your program in the future to retain teachers and bring new teachers on board? Scheduling. Do you have enough teachers to support the variance and needs of each household to make the options that you have laid out on the first 9 weeks a possibility? Are the teachers' school-age children at the forefront of your concern of the concern of the school board, and will they be able to bring their children to school so they can be in a safe environment with internet access so they can receive an education experience equal to all other students in the county while their parents are working? Are you prepared with the appropriate amount of staff to transition smoothly when we get our children back in school? Are the teachers receiving a level of compensation for addressing their own children's educational needs, as well as the regular expectations cast upon them this school year? Attendance. Will students be marked as absent if they have poor or no internet service, good enough to satisfy the internet requirements that you placed on a mostly rural school district? If they can't participate due to poor or slow internet signal, have you effectively publicly communicated what are we supposed to do in that event? How do you plan to handle attendance in these situations? How are you lawfully meeting government requirements for funding via enrollment in these situations? Are you publicly communicating this to the parents that are in this situation? But correct me if I'm wrong, but Virginia law states a standard school day in grades 1 through 12 should average 5.5 teaching hours a day or 27.5 hours weekly, excluding breaks, meals, recess, and a minimum of 3 hours for kindergarten. Explain to me how you are meeting this requirement with your virtual learning plan. I will not accept grades. I will not accept an F or a P for my elementary and middle school student at any point this year. Anything other than a letter grade, as if they are in school, is completely unacceptable. Number 6, special needs students. Gifted students need to be afforded the same standards and options as if they were in school. If not, what is the incentive to strive to be a gifted student? What extra have you done for gifted students this first 9 weeks in the virtual learning plan? Special education must be handled on a case-by-case basis per each student and the parents and their needs. You, the school board, made this choice. You must meet every special needs student's needs as if they were in class, at each student and parent's convenience and ability, following government guidelines. I do not have a special needs student, but I can't begin to imagine the difficulties those families are facing through this virtual learning experience. Extracurricular activities. If we return to school, do you have a staff in place to accommodate these activities immediately upon their return, as well as meet potential social distancing guidelines? Our children deserve this and need this. It's been far too long. Number 8, technology. All iPads, Wi-Fi's, and other supplies should have been in students' hands prior to the first day of school. Anything less is completely unacceptable. If you are unable to provide us with the tools we need for our children's education, a publicly posted contingency plan should have been in place to give those students an opportunity to learn at a level that is equal to your virtual learning plan, until you're able to meet your end of the obligation you put in front of us. A reminder, you offered these items to us. We didn't ask for them, you offered them. Are you still providing Wi-Fi service in your school parking lots for those that chose to use that option? What day and times is that service available? This past Friday, I circled Nottoway Elementary School, Southampton Middle School, and High School, and could not find a Wi-Fi signal stronger than 25 to 30% in the parking lot anywhere. Number 9, food services. How do you rate the success of your food delivery so far? There are a lot of people that are still confused on how to sign up, who is eligible, and they're not getting their food. Do you have enough staff in place to effectively meet the needs of preparing and transporting food to children across the entire county? What is being done with the food at the end of the day is not being delivered. How much waste have you had from the first week? Are these hot and cold meals items being kept in a temperature-controlled environment that would satisfy the health department for the safety of these children? Do you have a clear and open line of communication for all parents to register their students for these meals if they should feel the need to use it? Number 10, transportation. How many bus drivers have you hired? You've been in a deficit in this department for years, and you've done nothing but sweep it under the rug. It is time for you to do what you need to do to get drivers hired so our students can be transported to school in a normal fashion when they return to school. This needs to be addressed. Progress on new hires needs to be communicated to parents to regain our assurance that you have a handle on all your lingering staffing issues, and you're prepared to get our children back to school, especially if we have to deal with social distancing requirements when they return. 11, other. For transparency and social distancing, do y'all have the ability to live stream the school board meetings like other school districts? It is imperative that you don't slide your teacher shortage under the rug by using staff that are not lawfully allowed to teach in the Commonwealth of Virginia. As a parent, I'm very aware of your plan requirements versus the available staff that you have to carry out this plan. Equally, all students deserve, and parents should expect, qualified teachers instructing our children in a live virtual experience that you have promised. When will every student that needs a Wi-Fi get one? Does every student have an iPad? When will you implement a Plan B with good instructional package for students that can't participate in virtual learning due to internet signal at home? As stated in the previous public comment section in a recent school board meeting, I stated that my expectations are high. You receive funds from local, state, and federal government to provide a public education for my children. Funds that are generated from our tax dollars, my tax dollars. Funds are received based off enrollment as far as I understand. What percentage of students last week met the government requirements of the minimum daily, weekly averages for teaching hours? I give you very little grace or compassion when it comes to flexibility. We started this venture in March. The school year was not sprung on us in the last minutes like it was in the spring. We all knew school starts the day after Labor Day. You assured us this would be a better learning experience in the spring. You've had time to create a plan that would work for everybody. The success of any person, family, group, or business depends on the ability to change course in the face of adversity, with contingency ready to go in a moment's notice. Being prepared, communicating, supplying those you are responsible for with the tools that they need to do their job, predicting and forecasting things, and preparing ahead of time, being proactive instead of reactive, honesty and integrity are all values you need to be successful in life. This week, in my opinion, for my family, was a disaster. We did not have the tools we needed to help our children get an education. We did everything that you asked. We met every expectation that you placed for me, my wife, and my children. But a lack of communication, implementing a plan that was not feasible with current faculty and staff numbers, implementing a plan that we cannot participate in due to our internet signal, culminated in a mess for my children, frustration for my wife and children. I'm ready for my children to start getting an education.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. Marguerite Starr.
Good evening. I'd like to thank you for the communication that we did get prior to school starting. My main concern was that I just didn't feel like once again, I don't know if it's once again, but I just didn't feel like you all were heard what we've said over and over about the internet. The Thursday before we started school, I don't know the date, but the Thursday before we started school, we get a message with a video attachment. So I'm sitting in my house. We have satellite internet. Sitting in my house right next to the router, hoping that it's going to load. It didn't. It spun and spun and spun. So it's Thursday afternoon. I'm like, this is probably the last communication before school starts on Tuesday. So off to town I go. I don't need anything else in town. I'm 12 minutes from town. So off I go to town to watch this 15-minute video. It was informative. I could have waited until Monday to watch it, but I didn't, because here it was Thursday, and I wondered if there was something I had questions about. I needed to talk to somebody, and I didn't know if everybody would be working on Friday or not. More came in over the weekend, so I realized, let me just wait till they all come in, and then I'll go Monday to town and watch the videos. Hopefully once our MiFi's come in, I don't know how much longer that's going to be, but hopefully when that comes in, this won't be an issue for all of us that don't have internet. I did talk to Mr. Hatch on Friday before school started, and he explained a little bit better to me why I don't have internet when I have satellite, why I can't get a video. So at least I understand I can't get it, but it's frustrating when I know that, I don't have any internet, and that's my main communication with you all. I just hope the MiFi's come in quickly, help solve some of these problems, and then maybe we won't be so frustrated, because it's very, very frustrating on our end. If you have internet and you don't understand, but when you don't have internet and that's the main form of communication for us, it's difficult. That's where the frustration comes from on our side. So thank you.
Thank you. Kathy Dunlop.
Good evening. I would like to start off my comments this evening by focusing on some of the positive and recognizing some of the employees who work behind the scenes. I would first like to recognize Bill Hatch and his technology department. They have done a great job in providing demonstrations, setting up virtual experiences, fielding tech questions from parents. They've taken on a huge challenge by providing support to all 4 elementary schools, Southampton Middle, Southampton High, teachers, and parents. I do not imagine that it has been very easy, and I applaud them for the efforts that they've put forth. I also would like to thank Raquel Locklear for working hard to address parent concerns regarding food distribution. I am one of the parents that did not get food the first day, and it was addressed positively from her. The interactions from what I've heard have been positive, and I've talked to others that have been very complimentary of Ms. Locklear. This past week has not gone by any stretch of the imagination by being great for myself and my children. I understand that as with anything new, there are bugs or kinks that need to be worked out, so I have tried to remain positive and encourage the same with my children. I really wanted to come into this meeting tonight not to address the past week. However, I feel that it is very important for you all to hear how emotional toll that is taken on the students and the parents. In my home, as I've mentioned previously, there is no internet, and cell service is questionable. I live 2 miles from this high school. Keep that in mind. 2 miles from this high school. This last week, my children have been working off of a hot spot. Some classes have run smooth, others are constantly trying to reconnect or are disconnected altogether. This became so surreal for my 9th grader today. In a geometry lesson where her surface was constantly disconnecting, she was not able to get the information she needed to get the problem that was being presented to her. It led her to tears of frustration. This is a reminder to me how important it is for them to be in a classroom setting where they can get the education of a provider face to face. Every time I come before you, I feel as if I am begging you to understand that virtual is not a viable option for Southampton County. I feel defeated. I feel unheard. I feel unresponsive from you all. So as it is, I will stop beating a dead horse and I will look forward. I am hoping tonight that we will hear from administration the status of the MiFis that have been requested. It seems that it's one of the elephants in the room and the question on everyone's mind. I'm also expecting to hear what Plan B is for the rest of the 9 weeks. There's rumors that MiFis will not be available due to national shortage. Obviously, with residents all utilizing a half-broken infrastructure signal is weak and not able to support the work that is being placed on students. With these concerns in the minds of parents, how does Southampton County Public Schools plan to provide our children with the education that they are to be afforded? How does Southampton County Public Schools plan to address the dividends between the haves and the have-nots that the lack of internet and cell service will cause amongst your students? It was presented earlier on that packets would be available. However, we've heard nothing else about this. Is this an option that you are exploring? I look forward to your responses in anticipation that we are being proactive in this virtual learning and not reactive. Thank you.
Thank you. Stephanie Duke.
And everyone, first I want to say that I have children that are in all 3 school systems. So I just have a few comments about how the school systems are going. My youngest one is in 4th grade at Riverdale. I will say the first day was kind of rocky, but I think when we did the meet and greets, and I hear from more than just me, that as us parents, we were hoping that we were going to get a informational sheet of what times were the kids supposed to log into which classes. I found out over the course of the first day that in the elementary schools, they're doing like a team teaching approach, that like 2 teachers teach a block and then 2 teachers teach another block. So that was very confusing to us. My little one, who rarely has meltdowns, he was wavering between yelling and crying until we finally got it figured out, thanks to a good 5th grade teacher there. So we did get that figured out. The middle school schedule, that didn't actually get figured out until last night. And maybe somehow I missed how the scheduling was working for that, but my 8th grader was not aware that he's only taking classes, he takes 1 set of classes on Mondays and Wednesdays and a different set of classes on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So he missed his whole set of Wednesday classes because he said the teachers on Tuesday hung up and said, "We'll see you Thursday." So he says, "I didn't have anything to do on Wednesday." And I'm like, wait, I think you probably did, but I didn't have any written information to tell him any different than that. We have figured that out, I hope. I will say the high school schedule is going much more smoothly. But and one thing I'm finding out is that the teachers don't teach in all 3 blocks, nor should they be asked to teach in all 3 blocks. But it would be helpful if the kids know, like for example, my 8th grader signed up for the middle block of the day, and he's finding out that some of his teachers don't teach in the middle block. I guess he has to watch the video, but
I know that's his time to be signed up, but it would probably be helpful if sometimes he could get signed up in the early class, so if he had needed to actually have some interaction with the teacher. I mean, he signed up for a dual math and a dual science, so it would be helpful if he didn't just always have to watch a video. So if somehow that could get put out, that he could look at different times, you know, even if it meant him having to look at an 8 o'clock and a 2 o'clock time, you know, it could happen if the school would allow that. I will also say that while we appreciate the school supplies that the schools donated, that wasn't anything, an expense that you needed to spend on my family anyway. Like we provided our school supplies. I would have preferred to see you use that money to do what needed to happen to get us back into the classrooms. I'll also say that I have 3 children, that all 3 have access to iPads, thankfully to the schools for providing those. I also understand there are children that don't have iPad access yet. So we would be willing to donate at least one of our iPads back, and I'm sure there may be other parents that would do that so that all kids can have, you know, their internet access. So, you know, maybe if we were to ask those things, and there's also lots of parents who are willing to do whatever we need to do to get these kids back in school. You need a parent committee to help do something to keep the school clean, whatever you need, because we need our kids to be back in school. I have a senior who has said, Mom, I've never ever asked you to send me to school, and I need to go to school. You know, so whatever we as parents can help you do, please let us know, because we want our kids back in school. Thank you. Oh, one more thing. We just got this in the mail today. This is, the school spent $4.60 to send this to my 8th grader, and it's a set of earbuds and a stylus. Appreciate that, but we got them when we went to the open house, so if I need to donate that back, but that's an expense the school is spending. Like, how much of that kind of money are we spending? Like, I'll be glad to give this back. I don't know if you want that bill or what do you want to happen to it, but, you know, we picked up what we needed to pick up, so thank you, but
Thank you.
if somebody else needs it, we'll be glad to give it back.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank all of our speakers tonight. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with the Southampton County School Board.
Can I speak? I came in late. I didn't sign up.
I didn't see the sign up sheet either.
Yes.
Thank you.
Please note you have a 3-minute time limit.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. What's your name?
George Collins. And I thank you for the opportunity. I know that I should have got here on time and signed up, and I apologize. I was running late. I had in mind several things tonight to speak about, but at 4 p.m. I received a remind message that changed what I wanted to talk about. This message was tonight to inform everyone that Southampton County Public Schools will be using a program called iReady for Student Assessment. Now, I had never heard of this program before, so I did what any inquisitive person does. I Googled it. And I encourage everyone here to do the same. You can start by Googling the phrase, is iReady good or bad? And you will find overwhelmingly, at least from what I read, that educators, parents, and students have very negative things to say about iReady. School district administrations, on the other hand, like iReady because it gives them numbers to work with. I even found an article that was written by a math coach who wrote math exchanges, and her name is Keziah Wedeke. And some of the things that she wrote in this article about iReady, I've got screenshots of it to read to you. It says, based on the scores generated by iReady, a report for each student is given. The report offers a bulleted list of what a student can do and next steps for instruction. However, if you take a closer look at the reports, they are not generated from the specific questions that the child answered correctly or incorrectly, but rather a generic list based on what iReady thinks the student's score is and a range of what they likely need. It makes an assumption about what our children need. She goes on to say that the teacher can never see the questions the child answered incorrectly, nor can the teacher even assess the description of the kinds of questions the child answered correctly or incorrectly. The most the teacher will ever know is that the child scored poorly. She goes on to say that, but above all else, the iReady Universal Screener is dangerous assessment because it is a dehumanizing assessment. This test strips away all evidence of the student's thinking and their mathematical identity. And then she goes on to say that I read an assessment of this nature overwhelmingly identifies poor students and students of color as the most need of intervention. Now, I know that people have looked at this, but this is just what I found in reading today, and it concerned me a little bit. I think with any testing, my view of testing in general has always been, is the things that count always be counted. And the things that can be counted don't always count. Thank you.
Thank you. Again, thank all of our community partners for sharing your thoughts with us.
Can I have a couple minutes? Do you mind?
I want to remind you of the 3-minute time limit.
Okay.
What's your name?
Sean Osborne. Good evening. I'd like to talk about a few issues that haven't been brought up by Mr. Moore and Mr. Collins in regards to going back to school. I want to know why we have a survey that had come out months ago in regards to parents' options and opinions on whether or not we should go back to school, we should have a hybrid, or we should go 100% virtual. My family had chosen to do back to school full-time. There are a lot of other families that have chosen that as well, and to do some type of a hybrid platform. I think overwhelmingly more than 50-60%, if I'm not mistaken, had chosen some type of a school forum for somebody to come back to school, or these children to come back to school. And I just want to know why that was ignored as opposed to trying to accommodate someone. I'm trying to figure out why we can't come up with something as far as a hybrid, allowing the families to make their own decisions on whether or not to send their children back to school. And the families that are not comfortable in doing that, or if they have somebody that is a health risk at home, to be able to stay home and do the online learning. That would solve some of the hotspot issues, I believe, because then you'd have more hotspots to give out to other families. It would also give you enough social distancing in the school, I believe, with less students in the school. Some kids need to be in that setting in school. Special needs children, of course, and some of the other kids. Now, the other issue is, I believe, with, I got a little sidetracked, I apologize. As far as sending the kids to school, what exactly is going to be the risk? Are we following the government mandate from the state? Is that why we're not going back to school? There are plenty of other counties in Virginia that are either full-time back to school or hybrid. Why are we not doing the same? We're in a rural environment here, as you've already heard. Internet really is not that big of an option here, okay? Not to mention the emotional stress put on families. Everybody's worried about COVID, and I get it, but there's a way to do it responsibly, and I just don't understand. There's an emotional health, mental health, it's a crisis. These kids need structure. You've got to have one person at home for the most part all the time. So you're talking about nowadays, you have to have a 2-person family income to survive in most cases. Now you're down to one family member working in most cases as well. So there's a lot of things that I think people are not thinking about. And personally, I don't understand why we don't have some type of hybrid in-school session. I know we're talking about, okay, well, we're going to do the first 9 weeks, but then that's going to turn into another 9 weeks and another 9 weeks. Now we're talking about more COVID cases going up if you look at all the cases going on here. So my question is, when's enough enough? When are we going to just put our feet to the fire and actually jump back into some things and do it safely? There is a way to do it safely. Give people more options. You can either opt to stay home and do internet learning, or you can come back to school and actually send your child. I've got a million other things, but I know my 3 minutes is up. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Is there anybody else?
Good evening. I did not intend on speaking tonight, but
What's your name?
Melissa Cornwell, and I live in rural Berlin, about a mile from Nottoway. I'm here mostly to speak on behalf of my little son's best friend. His mom is working tonight, she's a registered nurse, her husband's working, and they were not able to come and attend. But the concern, as I know y'all are tired of hearing, is internet. And I just wanted to share another perspective. As I said, I live about a mile from Nottoway, and my husband and I have tried multiple internet services. We've had a Verizon MiFi box. Doesn't work very well at all. It will not maintain connectivity. We have tried satellite internet through HughesNet. That was our only other option. That would not work as well. We broke our contract with them. And right now, what we're doing in order for my children, because I will do whatever I have to do to have them educated, is we're sending them to the YMCA here in Franklin. But to put perspective on it, I just want to share with you how much I'm paying this month for my two children, which I have three. I have an elementary school child, a middle school child, and a high schooler. And I'm paying $938 this month to send my two children to the Y in order to get internet and to connect. And that's from 8:30 to 11:30, and then the Y is doing some activities with them in the evenings or afternoon until I can pick them up, because I can't leave my third grader at home with no oversight. And we don't have the connectivity for my children to be able to log on. And my husband and I both work. And it's the same issue for my son's best little friend who lives a couple streets over, is they are very, very frustrated this first week, going into this week, that they cannot connect, disconnect, drop. And I just hope that there's going to be some, I know that they're being told to reach out, but I just really hope that the MiFis will either work, or if they don't work, I really hope that the option will be paper packets, because my children are connecting, but I'm losing sleep over the other children in our county. And not every family can afford internet, not every family can afford the YMCA. It's expensive. I'm a member. That's the member discount, $938 a month. That's a mortgage payment. The other thing I wanted to talk about is the school supplies. And I really appreciate the school trying to do the school supplies. But I'm one of those people who's thrifty, and I just really wish y'all had put a survey out and said, what does your family need in order to be wise with our money, with your money? Because I picked up a supply packet for my middle schooler, and it had paper, notebook, pens, pencil, eraser. That's what he got. No offense. Those are all things that I can give my child. I picked up my elementary school child's packet. He got the same thing. In addition to, he had a calculator. It was a basic calculator, a Texas Instrument basic calculator. Nice calculator. He's third grade. I don't even think that he's going to need a calculator. If he does need a calculator, I can provide that. My high schooler, he did get earbuds and a stylus, paper, pencil, notebooks, etc. If you just asked all those things, no offense, but I could have provided for my child. And you could have used that money for children who need it, for children who need the internet connectivity and their family can't. You just could have taken that money and put it somewhere else. I'm not trying to stand up here and, and also you just let us know for my children who didn't get earbuds, at the last minute I was running out to go get earbuds, because what I looked at is what y'all gave, and I just went and locked to try to get the same, because nobody really said, what do we need? And I saw parents on Facebook asking, what do we need? Those are the parents that can provide it for their child. So why not let us save that money and put it somewhere else where it's more needed? On a positive note, I just want to thank the teachers and the administration. I know you've been working very hard. I know the teachers have put in long hours off the clock, still working, holidays, weekends, and I really, really appreciate all their efforts, because I know But the reason they teach is not because of their salary, it's because of their heart, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. So the next item on the agenda is matters from previous meetings, and Mr. Worsham, you asked to speak.
Yes, I've given a lot of consideration to the virtual learning. I think, as you well know, the last meeting I voted to go back to school on a hybrid basis. I still feel that we need to be in school on a hybrid basis. I would like to see us, if we can, go back before the end of the 9 weeks. And that would put us about an interim period. That gives us about 4 weeks to prepare for it. I know there's a lot that's gone into this, and I appreciate all the efforts, and I appreciate what Dr. Shannon has done, what Bill Hatch has done, what the teachers have done, the central office administration, certainly everything that's going on with the schools. I do appreciate all those efforts. And I hope what I'm saying is not something that's going to go against that. Pretty much, I just feel students need to be in school as much as we can get them in. You're not going to find a substitute anywhere, any device that we've got or anything that's going to replace that good teacher standing before those students delivering that information. And I think as much as we can do that, I think we owe it to our children. We certainly owe it to the patrons. And I think if there's any way that we can look into getting into school earlier, I'd like to see us do it. I believe we can do it. One thing that really made me think about this shortly after we met last month was an article I read about potential earnings. And in that article, it talked about high school and grade school education. And that article indicated that for every year that a student missed out on that education, they lost 10% of earning powers over a lifetime. Now, I kind of used $100,000.Maybe that's high, but I used it because I could figure that out. The math was easy to do. If we stay out a year, of course, we're going to lose somewhere in the neighborhood of $10,000 earning power for our students. We will have stayed out 6 months, which means we've lost 5%. So we're down to $95,000. I'm not sure that's what we want to do. I think we want to prepare our students for more than that. And I think by getting into school as soon as we can, I think we can probably provide the needs that are necessary for the future. I don't think we can go back full time. Please understand that. I don't think it's possible with the numbers that are out there now. But I think we can go back, allowing maybe the lower grades, which are the formative years of education, to go back on a hybrid basis, with the others going back on a virtual, as long as we can get the devices out there they need. And I know it's a difficult time because I hear frequently and read in the paper frequently that there's just not enough of those things out there for all the school divisions that are required. And I understand we've tried to get as many as we can possibly get, and if they're not there, there's not much we can do about it. But at the same time, I do feel that if we go back to school and get into school sometime between now and I guess the interim period, I think we'd be doing our students a service. And I think we would be helping them a great deal in future endeavors. The interim period I picked because it's 4 weeks away. It's going to take a good 4 weeks to probably prepare the elementary schools for that. At least that much. And I think by granting that, I think we're going to ease a lot of calm. I've taken about 3 pages of notes here tonight. And I look back at those notes, and I do feel for you folks. But please understand, the school system is doing everything we possibly can do at this point. We've got to give it to the folks who have done the planning. It's just that I think our students need to be in school. And as I was spoken to about this, the more we get our students in school, the better it is for them, the better it is for all of us, the better it is for society, certainly. So that's what I'm asking. Now, is there any way that we can arrange for our students to get back in before the end of the 9 weeks? I hope the numbers will bear that out.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Worsham. The next item on the agenda is the financial report and payment of bills. Dr. Shannon?
Yes, Mrs. Carr, our part-time director of finance, is going to make a presentation to the board. Mrs. Carr?
So we have a motion by Mr. Pope, a second by Dr. Motlin to pay the bills as presented. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? The next action item is the approval of the Career and Technical Advisory Committee. Dr. Shannon?
Yes, Ms. Linda Adams, our CTE supervisor, is going to make that presentation to the school board. Ms. Adams?
Good evening, Dr. Goodwin, Madam Chair, Dr. Shannon, Division Superintendent, school board members, and everyone assembled. I stand before you on behalf of Career and Technical Education in reference to the approval of advisory committee members for 2021. We have approximately 5 new members who are willing to serve pending approval via the school board. And we have approximately 15 members returning pending the approval of the school board. Our advisory committee consists of representatives from business and industry, as well as parents, students, teachers, the Workforce Development Council, and the labor industry. So with that said, I thank you for your consideration in approving this committee.
Thank you, Ms. Adams. Do we have a motion? We have a motion by Ms. Bond. Do we have a second? Second by Mr. Smith to approve the membership of the Career and Technical Advisory Committee. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. The Commonwealth of Virginia has 132 school districts. As of September 8th, according to the Virginia Department of Education, over 50% of the districts opened the 2021 school year using a fuller remote option to offer instruction. Southampton County is one of the school districts that decided to start the school year using the fuller remote option to deliver instruction. And now Dr. Shannon is going to give us an update on the school opening.
Thank you. So, first of all, last month I shared with everyone our Re-Engaging and Reimagining Learning Plan. And I like to say that our administrators, our teachers, our bus drivers, food service workers, technology employees, secretaries, nurses, everyone has just worked tirelessly to try to implement the plan that we put forth. So our building administrators are going to talk with you a little bit about the opening of school, and then once they finish, our central office employees will talk about what they've been doing to implement our plan. So building administrators.
Good evening. I am Ms. Keisha Watford, co-principal at Riverdale Elementary School.
And I'm Sandy Walker.
We might as well be.
Sandy Rayleigh, co-principal at Riverdale Elementary School.
We had our
prior to school opening on that Thursday. All but 18 of our iPads were picked up during the meet and greet for our currently enrolled students, 1st through 5th grade. It was quite warm that day, but we enjoyed seeing our students. Charlie the Cardinal was there, and we got through that evening successfully. Our first day of virtual learning, these are some pictures that were sent in to us of the eagerness of our children and their readiness for virtual learning. And the real rock stars were our teachers, who in the pictures are showing you our children learning virtually. The teachers team teaching, our 2nd grade team, and other teachers also showing the children virtually engaged in their lessons.
You can see here our enrollment at Riverdale. We're showing 48 students in pre-K, 64 in kindergarten, 74 in 1st grade, 77 in 2nd, 68 in 3rd, 55 in 4th grade, 76 in 5th grade, and 21 students in our combined life skills for a total of 483 students. And you can see our community feedback that we have had for Riverdale Elementary School, which has been overall a very positive experience. We've been very excited. Our teachers have done a phenomenal job, so we just wanted to showcase what our parents have kind of been very excited about the virtual learning that's been taking place. So there's some of our feedback there. And there is a staff right there that is ready to continue to rise, and we will rise by lifting others. So thank you.
Good evening. I'm Allison Francis, the principal at Capron Elementary. Oops, I went backwards. This is the same day. All the elementary schools had their meet and greet the same day, and you will hear this every time we speak. It was a very hot day. We had a lot of people to come through. I think at the end of the day, we had like 6 iPads left over to give out. Our numbers are pre-K 17, kindergarten 28, 1st grade 26, 2nd 28, 3rd 24, 4th 32, and 5th 30, a total of 185. And we enrolled a pre-K and a kindergartner today, so we're still getting students. These are our teachers showing how hard they worked. That's a 3rd grade teacher. She got flowers from her mom and dad, and then a 5th grade teacher. This is our cafeteria ladies getting ready, fixing the breakfasts and the lunches, and these ladies should be very much applauded. It's a lot of hard work. And we made it through the first week, I am proud to say.
Good evening. I'm honored to come before you as the principal of Heron Elementary School. Again, I'm going to show very similar pictures. I do want to go back to my opening slide. The picture on the right is that when I arrived at school, the first day of school, and the sun was coming up over the field. And it was just such a beautiful sight. I wanted to be sure to include that in this presentation. Our current enrollment at Heron, we have 20 pre-K students in the 2 classes. Kindergarten has 33, 1st grade has 37, 2nd grade has 38, 3rd grade has 39, 4th grade is at 38, and 5th grade is at 38 for a total of 243 students. Here are some pictures from our meet and greet. Again, I won't say the word that has been discussed, but we did have over 90% of our families come through. A lot of excited faces. Our teachers were full of enthusiasm despite the heat, and we made it through that evening, 2 different sessions. Here are some pictures that we've received from our first day of virtual learning. The pictures on the left were some of our students that the parents sent in to us. You can see some workstations going on and some of the cute little pictures of their chalkboards. I thought that was neat. Then on the right-hand side, you see our teachers looking very similar to the students in their workspace with their Schoology conferences. The next slide does have some of our community feedback, some text messages to teachers directly, some through social media. The picture in the middle I do want to highlight was from a family whose first grade student in Ms. Van Dyke's class was live using Seesaw, and the student was drawing. So it was a video, it was a really special video that meant a lot to the family. And so thank you.
Good evening. I'm the proud principal at Nottoway Elementary School, and for student enrollments, my pre-K is at 25, kinder is at 40, my first grade is at 32, second grade is at 53, third is at 37, fourth is at 40, and fifth grade is at 49, for a total of 276 at Nottoway, and we are still currently enrolling. We enrolled 2 more today. This is from all of the elementary. We are doing some different types of things. We're doing one-on-one interventions. We are doing some home deliveries for additional supplies, Schoology support and training. We are doing in-house tutorials, tech support with students, parents upon request. We also have some pre-K teams. The ones that you currently see are at Maharan. They are traveling out to the communities on Friday to deliver snacks and materials for students. And then for me, of course, I have to be a little bit different. I did do a video recapping our first day. I might have to push play. Sorry.
us from Southampton Middle School. All right, we had a great opening this year. Presently, we have about 649 students enrolled at the middle school. That's up from last year's 643. We have about 182 in the 6th grade, 250 in the 7th grade, and 217 in the 8th grade. You can see on the slides the pictures from our drive-through that we had, open house drive-through. Our drive-through open house, we distributed about 621 iPads that hot day, and gave out supplies and different things, and iPads, and since then we've been delivering a lot of them to homes, to people who had some challenges getting out that day. We've also had some in-house tutorials for people to make sure they understood exactly how to work Schoology, and for their kids to get on. We've been doing phone contacts to track our students to make sure that they are straight. First day pictures, these are some of the first day pictures. We had several, we just picked some of them. Wish we could have put all of them up here. We had some happy faces that first day, and a lot of them said they had good days. And we did have a couple that say they had some challenges, but we worked through it. That we've notified about it. And we are educating leaders for our people.
Good evening. I'm Mr. Charity from the Fresh Start Center. At the Fresh Start Center, where we imagine, dream, and become. Our current enrollment is for students in the first session. We had 17 kids that we sent back to their base schools last year, which is this school year. We had 3 students that graduated last year. We're currently doing home visits, and I've delivered tablets and computers to each home to make sure that the kids get their lessons. This is Ms. Morgan. She's checking in on the students on Schoology. They check in the morning. She is my GED teacher, so we do have the GED program there at the Fresh Start Center, and we currently have 4 students enrolled. So hopefully, sometime before the end of this year, we will have them ready to go and to be tested to get the GED. Ma'am.
Good evening. I'm Rhonda Bell, and I'm principal here at Southampton High School. Our current enrollment is 769. We do have 175 ninth graders, 193 10th graders, 195 11th graders, and 206 12th graders that we're excited to see June come forward. Currently, how we're helping our students, we have had several calls of people who are having issues with getting online, so we're taking the time to actually log in as the student so that we can talk to them about what they're seeing on their screen and helping the parents in that way also. We have been making home visits and phone contacts to help parents as we can, and we have had some in-person visits to help students. We did a beeping, elementary called it beep and greet. We did a distribution for iPads for our ninth graders and school supplies. As you guys know, high schoolers don't like to take pictures for us to post, but they like to post pictures, so we don't have a whole lot of pictures. So this is just a few from us doing our distribution. And this is just one post that we had that was a positive comment, but we did receive a lot of other positive comments from people talking to us on the phone. I am going to talk to you tonight about our night shift. I know there has been some interest, and I do have all the schools represented here on the slide. Our enrollment for elementary school right now is 79. We have 14 kindergartners, 13 first graders, 25 second graders, 2 third graders, 15 fourth graders, 10 fifth graders. On the elementary level, we have 22 sixth graders, 20 seventh graders, 21 eighth graders, for a total of 63 students. And at the high school, we have the least number, but this is where we're offering for 8th, 9th graders, 8 10th graders, 10 11th graders, and 8 12th graders for a total of 34 kids. The good thing about night school and the thing that I enjoy seeing is that I'm able to actually log in and sit in the class with the students and be able to interact with them. It also gives me the opportunity to be able to answer any questions for parents that may be online with their students. They can sit there and email right there, and I can answer the email. And we also have a phone line that they can actually reach me at during the time that they're on. As far as teachers, we do have 8 elementary teachers, 9 middle school teachers, and 9 high school teachers. The difference in the number, or the reason we have more for high school, middle school, is because we do offer more courses, so that we have to separate the kids out a little bit more. We do thank you guys for allowing us the opportunity to work with your students. We thank you for your flexibility. We thank you for your cooperation. We hope to see your children soon, and soon. Thank you so much for your time.
All right, thank you all, principals. Next, the central office administrators will share with you some of the things that they've been doing to implement our virtual learning plan.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Dr. Shannon, school board members, all present. Welcome this evening. We have some information for you this evening. We're going to cover some information about curriculum and instruction, special education, technology, communication, health and safety, and food services. I'll start with our curriculum and instruction. We want to pay close attention to the Virginia Department of Education's 5 C's, which we implement into all of our lessons, but within our virtual lessons as well. We have critical thinking, creative thinking, communication, collaboration, and citizenship. I know there's been much talk tonight about our administrators and our teachers, but I cannot begin to tell you enough about the wonderful teachers in Southampton County. They came together day 1 of professional development on the 26th and jumped right in with grade level and content meetings. They revised their pacing guides according to what objectives would best be taught virtually for the first 9 weeks of school. They created pre-assessments that will include objectives from the spring and from the first 9 weeks of school. They were determining which platform or media that they would use for these assessments. They also created lesson plans for the first 9 weeks of school. And it's important that these lessons be consistent throughout the division, as we have the 3 shifts. So if a student is in 2nd grade in the morning, in the afternoon, or in the evening, they are receiving the same instruction. They also discussed formative assessments and how they were going to check for understanding with students online. They discussed resources and materials that would be needed and how it would be put into their pacing and their lesson plans. These resources were shared not only with their teammates, but with their colleagues throughout the division. We continued our instruction with professional development, which was, again, very successful. We had our curriculum committee that did help give some of this professional development to our whole division. We had Schoology training. We had one big Schoology training with all of the teachers present, and then the Schoology was given by the technology department with Mr. Hatch and Miss McHenry, where they went to each individual school and sat down one-on-one with teachers and answered their questions and walked through the process with them. So the teachers would know what to do on Schoology and be able to tell the children what to do on Schoology as well. That is also ongoing. We have reading specialists being trained tomorrow, and paraprofessionals will also be trained on Thursday of this week. We had Virtual Virginia come in and train our teachers using their free curriculum that is aligned with the Virginia Standards of Learning. That is also ongoing. Our elementary will have training this Friday, and that will be throughout the year as well. We had some of our curriculum committee present virtual teaching strategies, and this included lesson design, student engagement, online classroom management, and whole brain techniques. This year, we have a virtual plan book. Our teachers have been working and turning in their lesson plans digitally for quite some time. But this plan book is able to use across the division so that when they put their objectives and their direct instruction, guided instruction, checking for understanding, they're able to develop the plan and schedule and collaborate and share their plans throughout the division. Social emotional, our guidance department did an amazing job with social emotional. They shared not only strategies for our students using CASTLE curriculum, which is another free curriculum, and Overcoming of Obstacles curriculum. Both are free and have several different strategies for social emotional for K through 12. And not only did they talk about the social emotional well-being of our students, but they discussed how teachers need to take care of themselves too, and some strategies for them. All of our science teachers participated in Jason Learning. We have been having this program for several years now. So Jason Learning provided information to navigate using Jason Learning on an online platform. And that training will also continue with lessons, and we're going to have grab-and-go boxes for students to use at home. The iReady, this is an online curriculum that is for K through 8 reading and math, and teachers will use it to provide instruction to meet individual needs of our students. The test is similar to giving an assessment where we want to see exactly where the students are, and as the student takes the assessment, it will take them higher and higher and higher, and when they start to miss questions, they'll take them back down, so that it will take them as far as they need to go, but not frustrate them and have them exactly where they need to be for individualized instruction. So when students work in iReady, they are on an individual basis. They won't be doing the same work as someone else in their classroom. They'll be working on their needs. We also had our curriculum committee work on project-based learning. They introduced several different combinations and ways to use project-based learning virtually with our students, which included authentic and complex questioning, problems, and challenges that students can do at home. And it just keeps going. We also had equity training with our teachers, and we wanted to support students that they are successful and work to their full potential. Mr. Melby shared health and safety, our well-being for our teachers at school, and we looked at our continuity of health and wellness, our continuity of resources, and our continuity of nutrition. And as I mentioned before, this PD is not just something we did the first 2 weeks before school started. It will be ongoing throughout the year with all of our contents that I've mentioned. Our digital resources. We felt that it was very important that we have e-textbooks for all of our students. And so we looked into Houghton Mifflin Harcourt Anywhere, which has English, math, science, and social studies online. It syncs with Schoology, so it's a one-touch button. It has all teacher resources at hand, lessons, books. The students have ebooks. It has level books. The books will be read aloud for students that need it. It also has manipulatives that students can use and move around on their screens. So we're really excited about having these digital resources for our students and teachers. We're excited to say that we were able to provide materials and supplies for all of our students in Southampton County. We included in our packets calculators, one-subject notebooks, composition notebooks, pencils, erasers, dry erase markers. The boards are on their way. Highlighters, index cards, loose leaf paper, headphones with a microphone, stylus, scissors, folders, glue sticks, a glue bottle, crayons, and graphing paper. If we know that parents did not receive something that's on this list, our principals and teachers are making sure that these items are being delivered to the students. Supplies were ordered for 2,800 students. The supplies left over will be distributed to families that need them as we go throughout the year. I did want to share the schedules with you. I just have an example. This is the afternoon schedule for elementary. You can see that it says 12:30 to 3:30. The morning is the same, 8:30 to 11:30, the evening 5:30 to 8:30. And then the example of Southampton Middle School, this is their morning schedule. And as it was discussed, they are on an AB schedule. So they have 4 subjects on Monday and Wednesday, and the other 4 on Tuesday and Thursday. And then our high school, their schedule, and this is an evening, so it shows an example of block 5, and that's the asynchronous learning, which is they're not face-to-face, that's independent, that they would do before they had class in the evening. And then from 5:30 to 8:30, they would have synchronous learning with their teachers. I did want to mention we are preparing a virtual instructional manual that will be given out to students and parents on their Schoology and on our division website. Within this virtual manual will be contact information, a digital code of conduct, expectations for teachers, parents, and students, virtual learning objectives, equipment guidelines, attendance and grading, schedules, and again with Schoology, making sure that we explain the use of our online learning platform. Thank you.
Good evening. For the special education department, for our students with special needs, we do have some things going on. Our life skills classes are talking to the parents to plan for the VAP collection procedures. VAP is our alternative assessments for students. Instead of taking SOLs, these are the students that are qualified to take the alternative assessments. Related service providers have contacted the parents to schedule sessions, and these sessions are actually beginning this week. Our related services are occupational therapy, physical therapy, speech therapy. We also have some students that get orientation and mobility services for the visually impaired. Inclusion teachers are co-teaching with regular education teachers, and the student accommodations and services are being provided. Also, as far as compliance is concerned, we are having our IEP meetings through Zoom. Eligibility meetings are being scheduled. We have actually held some, but we have to wait until all evaluations are complete for each student before we hold those meetings. And the teachers, all special education teachers, have provided me with the parent-student contact logs for the first week of school. Our teachers actually meet with our students one-on-one, and they document that and send it to me at the end of each week, and we started last week. Thank you.
Hi there. So, when I stood before you a couple of other times from the spring and I think right before summer, I talked about what I felt were the 4 pillars of technology during the virtual learning time. First one being devices, the second one being learning management system, the third one being tech support, and the fourth one being connectivity. So I just want to give a quick update on kind of where we are with those particular items. So devices, over the summer we either erased and cleaned old devices or unboxed brand new devices for over 2,000, that's right, 2,000 teacher and student iPads plus cases to go on them, installed the apps, assigned them to the students, tested out logins to make sure they work, and then gave them out to the schools so that they could distribute them on those hot day pictures that you saw. The learning management system, we use Schoology Enterprise, have for a couple of years now. That has been rolled over and ready for the 2020-2021 school year. The classes are ready, the students are enrolled, and the teachers have already, of course, as school has started, begun using that to post lessons and assignments and do their live video conferences. As far as tech support, we have 4 phone numbers that are published and on the website. All the instructional coaches at every level have a support line that they have with them at all times. So the instructional coach at the elementary school, at the middle school, and at the high school level are all able to receive parent calls. Also, we have a division tech support line. Basically, for the last few days, we've been running a call center down there off of that. But we've got a line that people can call and get one of the division level technicians. That is, all of those lines are currently available until 8 p.m. Monday through Thursday. And then, of course, also on Fridays. We just don't stay late on Fridays. And as far as connectivity, I guess I'll break a little news here. One thing is we upgraded the division's internet connection over the summer so that when we have teachers on site who are broadcasting their classes, we felt like we didn't want to bump up against a wall there. That has been completed. We ordered 500 MiFis. 200 of them have arrived. They came late Friday afternoon, as UPS trucks tend to do. And I'd like to thank Travis and Scott for taking some of them home over the weekend and getting them ready so that we could start handing them out first thing this morning. We handed out several today. We'll, of course, go back at it first thing in the morning, but 200 out of the 500 have arrived, and we're very excited about that. Thank you.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak tonight. At the onset this summer, we said that communication was paramount. Clear and consistent communication from the school board office going out to the community. And we have done that through a variety of methods, using our Remind system, using our Facebook page, doing things so that the parents can see things and it's not just a text message or an email going out. We do these infographics to give them the opportunity to see what we're talking about, to see the links, and to utilize these QR codes in the bottom left-hand corner and on the other corners there to take using the smartphone to get to that link immediately for the parents. Over the last month, from August 1st to September 1st, we sent over 88,500 messages out to our community. I looked it up in the last calendar year. We sent out 2.12 million messages to our community members. So we are striving to get the information out. So these are just examples of all of the different flyers that we get, that we've created to send out to our parents. All right, health and safety. At each of our schools now, we do have the screening stations like what you had experienced when you came in here. As supplies have come in, they've been going out to the schools. The health plan is being followed. The teachers received professional development on the health plan during their week back. We did a question and answer session. And we're following this and we're going through the health plan so that when we are able to welcome students back in, we will be ready for them to come into the buildings. Food services. On August 31st, I can't tell you the exact time, but the USDA made an announcement. They were going to extend the summer feeding program through the end of the calendar year. What that meant for us is it meant that we can feed every child under the age of 18. They don't have to go to our schools, they don't have to be here in the county, but we can feed them. And so what that did then is we had to make some changes in what we were going to do. Now, one thing that we are doing is delivering our meals out, and every day the child is getting a hot lunch, and they are also getting a breakfast for the next day. So it'll be something they can microwave, like some pancakes or the little muffins. They get milk and juice, and that is delivered every single day. And so at this time, just some quick facts you can see there. Nearly 700 families have registered to date, and they're still coming in now. More than 4,800 meals were delivered in the first 4 days that we did this. We have 18 vehicles out, cars, vans, buses out on the road delivering this. And the food service and transportation departments have been working hand in hand to make this work every day. So from the time that the USDA made their announcement to the day that the first meal was created was 7 calendar days. 7 days to really adjust and pivot what we were going to do. So in those 7 days, the menus had to be changed. The online registration form was created and altered. We had 600 plus families register. We established routes and delivery areas, and the staffs, both transportation and food services, were assigned and readjusted as numbers came in, and readjusted again as more numbers came in. The combination of food service and transportation working together, they have worked hand in hand, and it has been fantastic to see. Ms. Locklear and Mr. Griffin, they have been on the same page, working well together to create and distribute more than 4,800 meals those first 4 days. And today, we were at 1,320 is what went out the door between the 5 locations where we're creating the meals at. The online registration was created, and it gave parents a quick way to register. And it also gave them the flexibility because we're not delivering to their power school address. Because a lot of these kids are not learning from a distance in their own home. They're at a different location. So we're able to meet them where they're at and to deliver those meals where they are. Like with anything we do, there are some growing pains. We had some duplicates in there, so people were getting meals twice the first 2 days, so we had to fix that. Addresses weren't correct. Somebody left out a number of an address. Some things were different we had to fix, and we've done that. We have made improvements. We are constantly monitoring our routes so that we improve our meal numbers. Our routes, our drivers are being evaluated and adjusted to go where they are needed. So in all, it's been a fantastic thing. I've heard nothing but good things about the meals. The kids that I've heard, they love them. So it's been a fantastic thing. So thank you all so very much.
Thank you all so much. So as you can see, the staff has just been working diligently to implement the virtual learning plan. And I'm most appreciative to our staff for all the hard work that they've done. And I'm also appreciative to our parents for sharing with us their concerns. Your concerns do help us to revamp some of our plans. So thank you all so much.
Thank you. So pursuant to section 2.2-3711A1 and 2 of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, the board upon a motion and a second will convene in a closed meeting to consider personnel and student matters for the 2021 school year. Do we have such a motion? We have a motion by Dr. Motlin. We have a second by Ms. Bradley. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And then we will reconvene in the library for our closed session.